Hi everyone, welcome to episode 13 of the English to Takeaway podcast. I'm Richard, also known as the Grammar Goat on social media. I'm a content creator and English language teacher. I am delighted for the 13th time to introduce my amazing co-host, Jordan.
Thank you very much. Unlucky for some, but hopefully not for us. 13. I sound like a bingo caller there. 1 and 3, unlucky for some. 13. Um, Perhaps that's my next job. Yeah. Anyway, my name is Jordan. Some of you will hopefully know me as English Lingo on social media. I am also the same as Richard. I am an English teacher, also a content creator as well. Um, Great after a couple of weeks break to be back doing this.
Absolutely, and I've got to hold my hands up and say the break was sort of enforced by me because of a new addition to my household, a little
Yes.
puppy.
Yes, you have a furry friend, right?
Yeah, exactly. And for anyone listening or watching that has a puppy or has had a puppy, they'll know that it's really hard work at the beginning. So yeah, it was tricky to balance work and looking after the puppy with recording the podcast. Unless we'd done it at sort of 2:30 a.m., but I'm not sure the conversation from me would have been that coherent.
Droopy eyed and slurring
Exactly.
your words.
Exactly. Jordan, how are you? What have you been up to over the past couple of weeks?
Well, also as well, it coincided with what I had going on as well. So with my dad coming over, and of course with his wife as well. We had a lot going on and lots of things that we did, and it was a great experience, a fantastic. I think it was roughly about 2 weeks actually that we got to spend a lot of time together after 5.5 years of not seeing each other. So yeah, it was awesome. Really, really good time actually. Fantastic indeed.
Wow, I can't imagine the feeling you must have had waiting at the airport for your dad to arrive after all that time. That must have been quite an emotional and a moment that you'll probably never forget.
Yeah, it was really. It was kind of yeah. You kind of build up to the anticipation of it all and the excitement as well. Especially my daughter, who was 2 the last time that she saw my dad, and it was, yeah, for her it was a very, very, happy moment. And yeah, she really, really loved having him around. And now she's kind of badgering him, when are you coming back, when are you coming back?
Oh, that's
So
great. That's
yeah,
great.
it was
I was
good.
going to ask you about Manila because in the previous episode we talked about incredible pizza from Manila. Did you go to the pizza restaurant in Manila, or oh no, I can see by the face that maybe you didn't.
Unfortunately, we didn't.
Ah, right, okay.
However, we do have another trip to Manila coming up towards the end of March. So we have penciled in going to the pizza place because, yeah, it's something that we, as a family, we want to try actually. One of the reasons why we didn't do it this time, and it's wasn't a problem at all. My dad's wife is gluten free, so we went to a lot of places that catered for gluten free and also vegetarian as well. So we were looking more so towards those restaurants. But yeah, next time I'm definitely going to try it out to feed back to you what it's like. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully it's good.
Oh, cool. Yeah, looking forward to hearing about it. Oh, great. And I
Awesome.
really enjoyed all your your reels as well that you filmed. I think you did one on a boat, you did one on a spectacularly beautiful beach. I mean, it looks like you were at some pretty exotic and pretty beautiful locations.
Yeah, the one was they call it a sandbar. So basically, what happens is this big line of sand becomes exposed when it's low tide. But when it's high tide, it's completely covered and you can't really see it or step foot on it. So we timed it perfectly. We went there at low tide and we were able to walk along this pristine kind of white beach, but it was in the middle of the ocean surrounded by water. So that was a really fun experience as well. Yeah, we definitely enjoyed that. However, that trip was marred by a really horrendous incident for myself.
What? Why? What? Do you want to talk about it, or are you too emotionally
Absolutely,
scarred?
no problem. My dad and I we went snorkeling in the middle of the ocean, and as I went to get back on the boat, the ladder of the boat moved, and previously I've had the same injury many times actually, but I dislocated my shoulder as I was getting in.
Ooh.
So that was a little bit of a crazy experience trying to put my shoulder back into place in the middle of the ocean.
Did you manage to do it? Did you manage to put it back in the
Yes.
socket?
Yeah, luckily, my wife is amazing and she generally knows what to do and how to help. And yeah, she was fantastic and helped me. Basically, all I have to do is I have to lift it up, and then I have to wait for it to kind of slide back into place. So she helped with that, and yeah, it was a very, I would say, scary moment.
It must have been, well, I guess in English we could say it must have been excruciating for you.
Lovely, yes, yeah, it was. But as I said, is I've had the injury for goodness me many years now. So it's not something that is uncommon, unfortunately. So yeah, it just happens to be at the wrong moments that it happens.
Yeah, of course. So did it stop you from swimming for the rest of the holiday then, or did it recover quite quickly?
No, no. Luckily, a couple of days later, it was no problem at all, and yeah, it was the pain had subsided, and there was no sort of no lasting effect on it. So yeah, it was good. After a couple of days, no problem at all, actually. So yeah,
Oh, that's good. Oh, sorry to hear that. That's a horrible thing to happen.
it's
Yeah.
one of those freak accidents that happen. Yes, but how about yourselves? How is it having a new addition to the family? How are you finding having a puppy?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so nice to have a puppy. Obviously it's hard work at the beginning with toilet training and generally, getting the puppy used to being with you in your in a new environment, a new home. But yeah, after a week and a half, more or less, I think the puppy has settled down and she's very relaxed now. And yeah, everything's great. Thank you, Jordan. So we're going to take her out today for her first walk outside.
Oh,
So we're really excited about that.
awesome!
And yeah, it's just great because she's so funny. In the morning, she gets what we would call in English the zoomies. Have you heard
Zumi.
of the zoomies?
Oh, yes. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but please explain it. Elaborate on it. Yes.
Well, I think the zoomies are when the puppy, the dog gets a burst of energy and just for no reason at all starts sprinting and spinning on the spot. and basically just goes berserk for about 3 or 4 minutes. So every day, probably about this time actually, because it's early morning in the UK now. About this time, she gets the zoomies, and she goes from very sleepy, calm. She just
Yeah.
goes crazy for about 3 or 4 minutes. So
Oh, awesome.
that's that's quite funny. But yeah, my slippers have been chewed, so I've lost a couple of pairs of slippers already. She
Wow.
loves chewing shoes and slippers and all the fun things that you'd associate with having a puppy. Basically, I've had over the
Fair
past
enough.
couple of weeks. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Do you think that she's going to be easily trained? Like, do you think you can teach her things that you want her to do, and all of those sort of interesting sort of teaching moments?
Yeah, absolutely. So she's a Labrador retriever, and Labradors are really intelligent dogs, very
Mm.
clever dogs, and apparently they're easy to train. But like the emphasis for us over the past couple of weeks has just been to get her to feel relaxed and at home and comfortable. So done a little bit of simple training and playing fetch and drop and things like that with toys, but
Okay.
haven't done any like intensive training yet. I think gonna wait maybe another month or so and then look for a dog school, because
Oh,
that's
good.
very popular in the UK, is sort of puppy training schools where you
Yes.
can go with other dogs and yeah, and then sort of do some real training with her. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, good, good. That would be cool. Are you going to try and get her to, like retrieve certain things for you, like when you're sitting down watching TV? Okay, go and get my slippers. Not eating your slippers, but go and get them for you to bring them to you.
Yeah, exactly. Go and make me a cup of tea. Go and get me a biscuit from the cupboard. All of those general things that you can teach dogs. Absolutely.
Perfect. Oh,
But
that's awesome.
I think probably the biggest thing like is the recall. So getting her to come
Yeah,
back. So I've got a training lead, like a really long lead to use, and
nice.
I'm going to use that, yeah, to teach her the recall so that she'll come back
Good.
when she's called. So
Appa-
yeah, it should be good.
Apparently, I'm not sure how popular this is, but apparently, I think dogs especially like liver. So it's usually like the taste of liver is usually used in dog treats. Um,
Ah,
so if you're doing training with a dog, um, having like liver is actually very useful because they really enjoy it. It's something that I think the taste or the texture or something is really good for them. So they tend to behave the way in which you want them to behave because of what they're getting as a treat.
that's a good tip. That's going to be interesting, because what I've found over the past week is that all my pockets and all my trousers are stuffed with like dog treats. So I've been in the supermarket and I've pulled out my wallet to pay, and a load of dog treats have just flown everywhere. So can you imagine walking around with liver in your pocket, and that sort of flops on the floor when you get your wallet out? You get some strange looks by the tills, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
But it's a good tip. It's a good
or you've
tip.
got like liver hands. That would be
Ugh.
disgusting.
That would be disgusting, but I'll look into the liver thing, Jordan. Thanks for that. I
Yeah.
mean, you've also got a new puppy, haven't you? I guess is she a puppy? Your the dog that you adopted.
Yeah, I would. Well, they're called puppies, I suppose, when they're under a year. So yeah, she's well, both of them are still 9 months. I think so. They're still puppies, yes. But because she or both of them, they're a little bit older, they're difficult to train once they get towards sort of that age. Yours is a perfect age, of course, to do what you want to do with them. But Yeah, we've got both of the dogs, and they're both really sweet and lovely, and especially the German Shepherd. She just wants to cuddle and lick you to death whenever she can. But yeah, they're both really sweet, and they love playing together. So it's nice to see them running around and entertaining themselves, basically.
I didn't know that you had two. I remember I saw a photo of the Alsatian, but
Yes,
what's the second dog that you got?
the the second dog is basically I don't know how to describe it. It's a Filipino street dog. They they came as a package, so we took the German Shepherd, but also the street dog was also given to us as well because I think they got them both at the same time, so they wanted to keep them together. Um, and yeah, she's a little tiny dog, but she's got tons of personality. Yeah, she's also really lovely as well, but dominated by the German Shepherd, of course.
Yeah, of course. So how many dogs do you have now on your farm?
Two, only those two.
Okay,
Yeah,
just the
but
two.
it where we live in this complex, there are three dogs, but they're owned by other people, and they just come and go between certain houses, of course. But yeah, only on the farm we've got two, so we keep those two there for the minute. If ever we do move to another place, then they will probably come and live with us in our house. So yeah, but we're planning on taking them to the beach because the German Shepherd loves water and wants to swim. So yeah, hopefully we're going to take her to the beach at some point and let her loose in the sea.
Yeah, oh, amazing. That would be very nice. Oh, that's great. So actually, we've got that shared experience at the moment, haven't we, of having new dogs, new additions to the
Yeah,
families.
absolutely, absolutely. It's
Nice.
always fun when they're you know they're that age and they're full of energy and they just want to enjoy themselves. But yeah, they are hard work to train. I completely agree with you on that sense.
They are, and Labradors are very nippy as well. So, you know,
Mm,
she obviously dogs explore with their mouths, don't they? Everything.
yeah.
So she is quite nippy, and she'll just for no reason start nipping at my trouser leg or my ankle for my feet for no reason at all. It's
Yeah,
quite funny, but yeah, you have to sort of teach the puppy, don't you? Yes, and the word yes and the word no are really important.
yeah, and also they don't realize how sharp their teeth are either. So what is playing for them can be sort of a little bit painful because their teeth are very sharp, and yeah, sometimes they don't realize how much of a sort of painful moment that can be. So yeah, telling them no, I think yeah they need to understand that, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Jordan, should we move on to the news section? I was wondering,
Yeah.
obviously in the pod every week we have the news section where we talk about something that's caught our eye in the news, or sometimes we talk about a story, don't we, that's happened to us.
Yes.
Um, what did you have this week for episode
So
13?
so it's not necessarily a story per se. It's just I was listening to another podcast. I can't remember the name of it now, but the guy that was being interviewed, his name is Chris Williamson, and he runs a podcast called Modern Wisdom. Really, really, really interesting one, actually. But he was giving his views on his career of podcasting and everything. And there was one fact that I was blown away by. I was really, really surprised at. And that was, he said, most people who do podcasts, they quit after like four episodes. Um, the majority of podcasts never go past episode 10. Um, and then he said the next section of people, they don't go past episode 20, I believe, or it was like 18 or something. So he was saying that if you have a podcast that goes past 20 episodes, you are in the upper echelon of podcasters because they don't usually last that long. I was shocked by that fact, to be honest.
Yeah, that is a surprise. I mean, I think also it's a surprise maybe because you and I are quite similar in our drive and our personality. Like we definitely don't give up. I mean,
Mm,
as content creators, to become a a content creator with a decent audience, you have to be consistent, and you can't have that quitting mentality, can you? So most
yeah.
people, I think, who want to be content creators will end up quitting fairly quickly when they realize how much work it takes. So I guess we're lucky because we brought that work ethic
Mm,
from our content creation background into podcasting as well, and we're
absolutely.
we're just relentless, aren't we? Really, in our approach. So
Yeah.
we'll get to 200, no problem.
Absolutely. But I mean it's quite amazing really, like when you delve deep into the facts of it and sort of the data behind things. I really didn't know that people who start podcasts, they just give up after a few episodes. And yeah, it was quite a big surprise for me actually to hear about that, and also quite inspiring because it when I hear about things like that, I think, well, no, I'm gonna absolutely blow past that number and continue going, as you said, to at least like 200 or something crazy like that. But it's pretty. I found it really surprising actually, and I think also, as you mentioned, with the background that we have, we know that it doesn't take, or we know that it can't blow up in a matter of weeks. It's got to take months and months of work to be able to sort of take a life of its own and get going into what it needs to go into. Um, and yeah, I agree with you. A lot of people feel that what they do, the effort they put in, it's kind of worthless because they're not seeing the results immediately. And yeah, I find that a shame. Actually, it's quite I think sad that people give up so easily. So yeah, that was kind of a surprising moment I wanted to kind of share with you and get your views and opinions on it. Really.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that because that's quite inspirational as well to hear that and motivating. I mean, for me, I think success is definitely a mindset, and I think that actually the big thing about success is enjoying the journey,
Hmm.
basically, not worrying too much about the success, but just enjoying the journey. I think that is the key. Often when people look at other successful people, they probably think, well, that person's had overnight success. But actually, when you look at that person and you research them and look back, they've probably been working hard for a good 5, 6, 7 years
Yeah.
before achieving that break in whatever they're doing. So I think that as we do, you've got to enjoy and love the journey. Obviously, our niche is education, isn't it, and creating English language videos for social media. You've got to enjoy that process because
Yeah.
what would you say? Like, out of our videos, probably 1 in 50 or 1 in 100 might resonate and might take off, and
Yeah.
all of the other videos, they're going to do all right, but they're not going to be spectacularly successful.
No, I
You've just
think
got to love the journey, haven't you?
I think you hit the nail on the head with when you said consistent. Like, I think consistency is definitely the key to anything, really. If you're
Yeah,
learning a language, you've got to be consistently learning the language. If you're um, playing golf, you've got to be consistently practicing golf. So I think anything that we do, you have to be consistent, and that is definitely something that I think is necessary for what we are doing, because as you quite rightly said, probably 1 in 50, 1 in 100, it may be even more.
yeah,
um, you know we can pump out content as much as we want, but it's not all gonna resonate with people, and some people may like one reel that you do, and then that's it. They'll never watch another one again from you. That can happen. It's not consistently going to be successful all the way through, and you've got to be what's the word that I'm looking for here? You've got to be able to accept the ups and the downs, right? It's not
yeah,
always going to be going up and up and up and being successful. Some days you get the euphoric feeling of, wow, one of my videos or reels hit a certain number of views, and then the next one that you do completely goes down, and you're like, what happened?
yeah. You've got to be thick-skinned, haven't you? You've got to be
I love that
thick-skinned.
one. Yeah, thick-skinned. Yes,
Yeah,
definitely, definitely, absolutely. And also you've got to be humble as well. I think you you can't let it get to you too much, and you've got to be able to go with the flow of certain things, because platforms change, as we've seen with YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. They haven't stayed the same. They change over time, and
mm,
we have to adapt to that. We have to accept those changes, and yeah, it's not. No, it's not always going to be the same as what it is. But yeah, it's an interesting journey. It's quite fun to hear other creators in different niches as well talk about it, and that's what I found fascinating. Is that sort of understanding what he's gone through and how he's built his podcast, and yeah, it's quite interesting to hear him talk about those sort of journeys and successes that he's had.
absolutely. Oh, really, thanks for sharing that. It's very, very interesting about
Sure.
podcasting. And
And
yeah,
your news story, what's yours for this week?
yeah. So mine has like an AI theme. So
Oh,
I did a. I'll start with a little anecdote. So I did a video for like an AI company who
uh-huh.
they paid me to make a video of myself talking, and they said they're going to use that to like make some adverts
Okay.
using my voice and my face and using AI. And so I thought nothing of it. And then last week, one of my son's friends at university, he shared a video with my son and said, "Is this your dad?" And my son shared it with me, and basically the AI had made me into a German doctor called Dr. Zimmerman, and I was talking in German about, shall we say, men's problems in the downstairs region, and it was had
Oh.
all of these this video montage and me as a German doctor, um, and I kind of thought that's crazy, how AI can do that. It was quite realistic as well, with my voice, but they had changed my language into German. So um, and then the other thing I saw this week on the news with AI was how they're using AI now to write books, whole
Mm.
novels, just with a few prompts, you can. get the AI to copy the style of an author,
Yeah,
and in a couple of minutes you've got a novel.
yeah,
Which obviously must be very threatening and intimidating for writers and creatives, in that world. So, um, and the final thing that I saw this week with AI was a guy who was doing a Zoom meeting, but
right.
actually he wasn't at the Zoom meeting. He was in another room talking, and the AI avatar was him talking, and it looked so realistic. So I just wanted to ask you, where do you think it's going, AI? Because it's been so rapid, hasn't it, in the last,
Yeah,
say, 3 years, and
absolutely. Yeah.
it's just scary what it can do now. Where is it going, do you think?
I think your experience with the AI generating a German Richard, like for me, that's I would use the word. It's a bit freaky to be able to do that. Like that is scary, freaky, whatever you want to call it. Um, I think that's the direction that it's going to go in. I think we're going to see a lot more of the, I would say, influencers created by AI. So you're going to see a lot more models. You're going to see a lot more um, generation of influencers that are going to be used through platforms like Instagram, Facebook. Because I think Facebook has already introduced some kind of AI characters, I believe, and funnily enough, you talk about this. I watched a story that came up on Instagram probably yesterday, 2 days ago, and it was the Instagram like account. I clicked on it, and it was a new feature that Instagram were promoting, but the person promoting it was an AI character. So I think we're going to see it go in that direction. I think we're going to see a lot more advertisers using AI to promote everything. It's going to be strange, very, very strange to see, I think, of course. So, yeah, scary, strange. It's going to be heading in that kind of direction, I think. What about you? Do you think we're going to see a massive change this year in AI?
I hadn't really thought about that actually. What you just talked about, I think that's really, really interesting. AI influencers. Yeah, I hadn't really considered that, but I agree with you. I think it. I mean, it's a reality now, isn't it? So I guess they're only going to become more natural and more realistic.
Yeah,
Um, for me, you see a lot of sort of funny videos, don't you, of kids doing job interviews, and they've got the phone stuck to the screen, and the interviewer asks the interview question, and then the AI generates the perfect answer, and then the kid
yeah,
just reads off the answer. That it's just it's permeated into everywhere now, hasn't it? Into situations when
yeah.
we were younger that we you could only dream about that kind of technology. So
Oh,
really
yeah.
interesting, really interesting.
I
Yeah.
I do think though that I do think though that AI, it can definitely help, but it can also hinder. I think the reason why it can hinder people is because they will rely on AI too much. They're not going to have those creative thoughts. They're not going to be able to create the things that previous people have created, which in a way is a good thing because uh, I think art and you know every kind of creative evolves over time. Um, but I just think that people or younger generations may lack that creative thought process,
Mm.
and I hope that it doesn't happen because I think if they do lose that creative process, then we lose a little bit more of our culture, because I think as humans we're quite creative and innovative people. So or creatures, I should say. So I personally believe that we can use AI, but we shouldn't rely on it solely for our creative things. I think we should try and use it to help us elevate our creative ideas, really.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. It's a tool, isn't it? It should be the passenger basically, while we're the
Yeah,
driver, not the other way round. But
absolutely.
yeah, but anyway, as my alter ego, Doctor Zimmerman, I just yeah, I just found that quite interesting, but quite scary at the same time. And
I I
yeah,
wonder I wonder what character you're going to pop up as next.
exactly. Who knows, Jordan? Who knows?
You'll probably see you as an, I don't know, what would be a funny one? An Italian who's selling some kind of pizza sauce or something like that, maybe.
Perfect, perfect. There you go. Keep your eyes peeled for me. Coming soon. Um,
Absolutely, indeed, awesome. That's what I love. I love the idea of AI. I think it's interesting, but yeah, I'm also a bit wary and a bit scared of what it can do as well.
yeah, yeah, same.
Cool. Shall we move on to the fun part where we give everybody the phrases and the words that we've used over the sort of time that we've been talking?
Absolutely, my favourite part, the English to take away part. Yeah, I've been writing down notes as I know you have, Jordan. So
Yes.
we're gonna feedback 10, isn't it? 10 words or expressions that have come up during our conversations today.
Absolutely.
We've talked about some really diverse topics today, haven't we? From puppies to
Yes.
sort of travels with your father to dislocating shoulders to AI to podcasting, social media. It's been a real whirlwind of a
Yes.
discussion. I've loved it. I love that. I absolutely love that. And got to say as well, like our podcast is not scripted at all, is it?
No.
Everything just I'm sure you can probably tell if you're watching and listening for the first time. It just comes up.
No. To be honest, we're scripting it off of AI. We're reading it, aren't we?
True,
You know.
true, yeah, true.
No,
All right,
it's not scripted whatsoever.
no, how well you'd never guess. All right, cool. First one's a repeat. Actually, it's one that we've had before, but I just
Mhm.
really like it. And the fact you've used it again, this phrase means that it's certainly in your idiolect, in your language, you must use it a lot to badger someone.
Yes. Yes.
So I think you must like that expression. I love the expression. So you were talking about your daughter really wanting her grandfather, your dad, to return to the Philippines. So I'm
Yes.
guessing that when they talk on the phone, your daughter's saying, "Granddad, come back. When are you going to visit us again?" So
Yes.
your daughter is badgering your dad. So
Absolutely.
to persist and to persist in asking someone to do something, I suppose, to
Yeah.
badger someone.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Completely. Yeah. You're exactly right with how you mentioned it. Like when she's on the phone, yeah, when asking when are you coming back, or are you going to come back soon, like you're kind of relentless in the asking of sort of similar or the same kind of question. So yes, absolutely, persistence is in there indeed. Cool. Yeah, I like that
Great.
one. I do use it quite a lot actually.
I think you must do. I think you must use it a lot. Yeah, it's a great expression. Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
indeed. The one that I had is, I think, the one that you mentioned when you were talking about your puppy, and you said, I think she has settled down now. And it's a great one to use, great phrasal verb to use. And this is when someone or something, in the case of the puppy, um, becomes comfortable in a certain situation or environment. So you can settle down in a new place, you can settle down in a new job. It means to be comfortable with what's going on around you or with something that you've experienced, of course. Yeah, I love that phrasal verb, to settle down.
Nice, Jordan. Excellent. All right. The next one is an adjective, and you used it to describe the beautiful white Filipino beaches that
Yes.
you visited. Pristine,
Ooh.
pristine, a pristine white beach. So pristine is a great adjective to mean very, very beautiful and very clean, almost perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pristine.
Like, in a way, it's kind of like, it's pure, isn't it? Like, there's no blemishes on anything. Yes, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, very, very beautiful, and as you mentioned, perfect. Yeah, it's a nice one to use
It's like a
indeed.
new car, isn't it? When you pick up a new car, the
Yeah,
car is pristine. You know,
yeah,
there's no marks or scratches or um, no sort of spilt stains inside the car. It's pristine, and
absolutely.
I love how you used it for beach, because I think for a beach, pristine is a lovely sort of collocation. A pristine beach might
Yeah,
be useful in a speaking exam, you know, in a picture task where a student gets a picture of a tropical beach.
mm,
You could say the beach is very clean, or you could say even better, the beach is pristine. Great
absolutely.
adjective, Jordan.
We often throw it out there, don't we, when somebody has cleaned something as well. Like, if you're proud of like cleaning your kitchen, you can say, "Look, the kitchen is pristine."
Great.
We I know that we joke around as British people being sarcastic. Sometimes it might be a sarcastic phrase, but yeah, we often throw it out there when something has been cleaned as well. Um, yeah, it's quite a fun one to use in that regard.
Absolutely. And with a new puppy, our kitchen is certainly not pristine at the moment, I can tell you. But we try our best. We try our best.
Awesome. So the next one that I wanted to um, use is a great one that you used, to go berserk. Um, so, yes, you can use the word crazy, but berserk is just a very versatile word. And it could be used in a variety of different scenarios. So, in your case, you used it because the dog has a lot of energy and wants to release that energy, and it goes berserk by running around here, there, and everywhere. Um, a great way to describe it. But also, I think, to show the versatility is that you can say someone's very angry, and to go berserk means that they release that anger as well. So we can kind of draw synergy between those two situations. Basically, it's a releasing of some kind of emotion. Um, One is energy, one is anger, or no, energy is not really an emotion, but it's the feeling that we have inside of us, like we want to release it. So to go berserk is a great phrase to use.
Yeah, definitely. And that reminds me of another one actually. So to go crazy, go berserk, go bananas as well
Yeah.
is a nice expression, isn't it? So yeah, the puppy goes bananas or goes berserk. It's a
Yeah,
great word as well, isn't it? Berserk. It sounds so weird.
yeah,
Such a weird word in English. Berserk.
it is. Yeah, it's I'm not sure where the origins of it come from, but yeah, it's a really really strange word for us to use, but it's a wicked one to use in terms of describing things. So yeah, it's nice. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Your
Great.
next one?
Okay. Yeah, my next one is oh yeah, to spoil something. So you said the trip was spoilt by a bad experience, your
Mm.
shoulder dislocating, but you didn't say spoilt, you said the trip was marred by. So again, lovely expression, quite an unusual word, I think, and
Yes.
another example of expanding someone's vocabulary. So yeah, if something is marred by something, it is spoilt by something. So you could say the holiday was marred by terrible weather,
Mm.
for
Yeah.
example. So
Yeah.
the terrible weather had a very negative effect on the holiday.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think the reason why I use it, or I used it in that situation, it's often used when describing sports events. Um, so they usually describe sports events in quite a positive way, but if there is a negative, they will use the word marred. So, for example, they may say, okay, this football team won. So they would say, the victory was marred by a bad injury. So they often use it, set it up as okay, there was a positive, but then there was this negative. Yeah, it's a. I think that's where I get it from is reading about sports.
Yeah, nice. I love how you explained it as well with the positive turning into the negative.
Yeah,
Fantastic explanation. Very memorable. Yeah, great.
and the one that you used, it's so brilliant to use, especially for puppies. Nippy. It's a bit of like they're very nippy. Um, yeah, this is such a good word to use because we talk about animals biting, like, but not really biting. It's just a small, innocent, in a way, action that they do. But we say nip. Just it's a small tiny bite that they will give you. So sometimes we may say, just be careful of the dog. It's a little bit nippy, meaning it's very playful. It likes to use its mouth to to kind of play. But yeah, I thought that was a great word to use today.
Well, I think we can actually get like we can get more out of this word as well because I've
Hmm.
thought of two other meanings of nippy. So
Absolutely.
another meaning of nippy would be fast. So
Yes.
my new car is really nippy,
Yes.
um,
Yes. 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 Yes.
informal, and the last one that I can think of is cold.
It
So
is.
you
Yeah.
can say it's a bit nippy today.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in British English, right? I think we use it more so than maybe in American English. Yeah, absolutely. And also, the the phrase "to nip" means to go. I'm just nipping to the shop, right?
I can see a new video emerging here, Jordan.
Yeah. So yeah, we can use it to go somewhere. Oh, where are you going? I'm just nipping to the shop. It means to do something quickly. So I'm quickly going to the shop. So again, that synergy between my car is very nippy, my car is fast. I'm nipping to the shop. I'm quickly going to the shop as well. So yeah, it's a good one to use. Very versatile again.
You've heard it here first. I think this is our latest collaboration video. Surely we've got to make a video to teach Nippy. What do you
I
think?
would
All
love
of
to do
those.
that one.
Should we
Yes.
should we go for it? Should we do it?
Yeah, let's do it this
Yeah.
week. We'll definitely do it this week. That'll be awesome.
I, I can easily do the nippy dog example, no problem,
Yeah.
because I'm nipped about once every 3 minutes at the moment. So when I step outside the office, so yeah, let's do that. That's brilliant. What a great word, nippy.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Your fourth one, I believe.
Okay, yeah, the next one is a nice idiom that you
Mhm.
used when you said to me that I'd got it absolutely right. So what I said, you agreed with, and you said what I said was right, and you said, Richard, you hit the nail on the head. So it's
Yes.
a yeah, nice expression, nice idiom. Probably it exists, I'm sure, across many different languages.
Yeah.
um, to
Yeah.
you know, 'cause it's very visual, isn't it? To hit the nail on the head, to say
Yeah.
something that you agree with, or to say
Absolutely.
something, sorry, that the other person agrees with.
Cool. Yeah. Perfectly. You struck exactly where you needed to go. Yes. Perfect. Um, the next one is another phrasal verb. And the reason I chose this is because it's a little bit of a different context to what people may usually use this in. Um, you use the phrasal verb take off. Now, we can use it to take off a piece of clothing, of course. Um, but in this context, it was used in relation to social media. And when we say something like a video takes off, it means that it becomes popular. Lots of people see it. So in this scenario, take off means something becoming popular.
Perfect. Yeah, lovely, lovely. I knew that we had to have another phrasal verb in there from the phrasal verb master. Brilliant. Yeah, excellent one. Okay, the last one from me. Yeah, it's another phrasal verb actually, out of coincidence. You said the next time that you're in the Philippines, sorry, the next time you're in Manila,
Mhm.
the capital of the Philippines, you want to schedule a visit to the pizza restaurant where they
Yes.
have one of the world's best pizzas. So instead of saying schedule, which is quite a formal word, isn't it? Schedule. You might use it more in a business or work context. You said, I want to pencil in going to the pizza restaurant. So
Yeah.
yeah, to pencil something in, literally, to write it in your plans, in your diary, on your calendar.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that. Really like that expression. So we
Like
could
similar to with the hit the nail on the head, it's a very visual one, right? Pencil in, people can
absolutely.
visualize it. Yeah, it's a quite a good one for people if they're more visual learners. Then they can really draw a line from that phrasal verb to actually doing it as well. So it's a good one to use.
Absolutely, and very common as well. Like I might say to you, shall we pencil in the next podcast for next Sunday, for example?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
shall we schedule or arrange to do the next podcast next Sunday? So it's a lovely one, great
Perfect.
one.
Awesome. And the last one is not a phrasal verb. It's one idiom that I've used a lot before, and I think it's a great idiom to use. Keep your eyes peeled is one that you used. I love this one. And no, it doesn't mean to shave your eyes with a potato peeler. Uh, it just means keep your eyes open, like look out for something that may appear. Um, and it could be used again in a few different contexts. So one could mean like keep your eyes peeled, meaning I've lost something. So if you happen to see it, or if you happen to, you know, be around, like actively look for it when you're doing other things. Um, but also, it can mean that, there's a specific thing that's happening. So make sure you're aware of a date coming out, or an advertisement that might show up on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. We use it to basically say, don't forget to take notice of something.
Exactly. Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled, everyone, for our next collab video. Jordan
Yes.
and I. So lovely. Do you want me to run
Awesome.
through them all, Jordan? I've written them
Please.
all
Yeah, go
down.
ahead.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we had badger someone,
Mhm.
settle down, pristine. My favourite, go berserk. Be marred by, nippy, and we gave like so many different, four, I think,
Yeah.
meanings of nip or nippy or nipping. Hit the nail on the head, pencil in, and keep your eyes peeled.
Awesome. Fantastic. What a great list. What a great list
I
of
think
words and vocabulary.
best ever. I think. Hey,
I think so. A
yeah,
nice array of different ones as well, right? Not
yeah,
just a load of phrasal verbs, but idioms, adjectives, lots thrown in there. So yeah, enjoy using them.
exactly. Yeah,
Fantastic.
great. Okay, well, Jordan, I think that sort of it's time to wrap up, isn't it? Really, time for me to get back to Mika the puppy.
Yes,
Time for you to
yes.
get back to your Sunday on the farm, and
Absolutely. Wonderful stuff. As
great.
usual, if you do have any questions or suggestions, then you can email us at the English to Takeaway pod at gmail.com, and just send us your questions, your ideas, news articles that you would like us to cover, and we will certainly make that happen. But yeah, otherwise, it's been a fantastic get together again, and let's not leave it too long to the next one.
Absolutely. See you next week, Jordan. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Cheers, mate.
See ya. Bye
Bye,
bye.
mate.